So, anyone who considers themselves to be a fan of the Buffalo Bills will know where they were on December 31st, 2017, the very last day of 2017. It was the day that Buffalo finally made it to the playoffs after 17 years. We did it with Tyrod Taylor, and then we drafted number 17, Josh Allen. His rookie year, we didn't make the playoffs because, well, we tried experimenting with someone named Nathan Peterman, and while many consider him to be the GOAT, he just didn't work out for Buffalo. And now, number 17, 17 years of no playoffs. It's been 5 years, 4 of them were in the playoffs. McDermott has been doing great for us, getting us to the dance 4 out of the 5 times he's been there. It's a good feeling. Buffalo has new expectations now. We all knew the feeling of that New Year's Eve day, right? Everyone remembers where they were. Now, it's kind of just what we expect. We expect to be in the playoffs. We expect to go deep now in the playoffs instead of just, getting there. And then instead of just winning a playoff game, now it's all the way. It's all the way. And Buffalo finally clinched their playoff spot in the playoffs for 2022. Took a little bit longer than most of us expected, but, with a team that can do what they are doing as well as they are doing it, no one really had any doubts.
And now the Bills are on the rise again.
It is pandemonium. It is fantastic.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Good Neighbor Sports. As always, I'm your host, Austin Hinton, and if you are new here, we talk Buffalo Bills football. So if you like that kind of thing, if you like the Bills, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is scientifically proven to make the Buffalo Bills a better team. And going into the playoffs, we're going to need all the help we can get. So yesterday, on Sunday, the Buffalo Bills did what they had to do, and they took out the Atlanta Falcons. They were fighting for their own playoff spot. I don't think they were ever going to see the playoffs this season. And this wasn't a must-win game from Buffalo, but knowing that New England was definitely going to beat the Jaguars, this was essentially a game in order to keep us ahead of New England. And while it wasn't the most amazing game of all time, Josh Allen didn't have his best game, something I did notice was that the rest of the team stepped up in order to bring us that W, which generally speaking, it's Josh Allen stepping up. It's the defense doing something, but this time it was the entirety of the team. It was another no punt game. It was just a good day all around, even when Josh Allen didn't have a great day himself. But to start off this video, I want to talk about some notable players, starting with offense. And I know I just said Josh Allen didn't have a great day, but I will say Josh Allen is a notable player on offense. Although less than 50% completion, 11 for 26, only 120 yards passing, 3 interceptions. A couple of them weren't entirely his fault, but come on. I mean, he's trying to play hero ball sometimes. But he had 2 rushing touchdowns, and he rushed for 81 yards on, I think, 15 attempts. He's a good player. He can do it either which way the defense allows him to. So I think although he had a kind of blemish-filled game, it was still a good Josh Allen outing, in my opinion, because of his legs. Now, speaking of the run game, it was phenomenal. Devin Singletary had a great day, and it's something that I've kind of been hammering home this whole time we've been debating about our run game is, what is the problem? And I think it's because we were splitting it up too much. It was Singletary, Moss, and then Breida, and then Singletary, and then Breida, and no more Moss. But Moss came back, and now it's just Singletary. We were focusing on one certain person who was getting hot at the right time. This is what we need to do, and it's very helpful for Josh Allen to have this run game. Our offensive line is finally getting back to the form that they need to be at the right time, heading into the playoffs. I mean, we still have a Week 18 game, brand new to the NFL history, never been a Week 18 game before, but regardless, Singletary, another notable name on offense. Sticking with the offense, Diggs and Davis did what they had to do. Nothing stat sheet wise is going to jump out and tell you, holy cannoli, these guys are elite, crazy good players that day, but they were what we needed when we needed them. Davis had, I think, only 3 targets, but he caught all 3 of them for, I think, like 40, 50 yards. I have it right here. Yeah, Davis was 3 for 3 for 40 yards, so that is pretty damn good right there. Diggs was, I think, 5 for 9 for 52, so there were 4 targets towards him, 1 drop touchdown pass that wasn't good at all, but they were reliable when we needed them to be reliable. Davis had some crazy toe drag swag, as he always does, for an important part of the game there. It's just, our receiving team is stacked. It can be anyone. It could be Diggs, Davis, Beasley, Knox, Isaiah McKenzie. It could be even Josh Allen. I don't know if Stephon Diggs threw a ball yesterday. Stupid play call, in my opinion. We don't need to do that. We have Josh Allen. Regardless, onto the defensive side of the ball, the entire defensive line was phenomenal. There was 5 sacks recorded from 5 different guys. Let's see, we got, 5 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss. Ed Oliver, Harrison Phillips had a phenomenal outing. Greg Rousseau got a sack and a strip sack, I believe. And then again, Bass and Hawk. Bass was 3 for 3 on extra points, no field goals needed, and Hawk was great for holding those extra points. Good job, partner. You are the most overpaid player in all of sports, because in the last 2 games, you hadn't had to do much of anything. So getting more into like the game and how it flowed, and despite 3 turnovers, right? Buffalo absolutely demolished the time of possession game, much like how we did against the Patriots. We had the ball, I think, 10 more minutes than they did, and the same rings true for this game. Buffalo had the ball for 36 minutes to Atlanta's 24 minutes of possession, so 11 minutes this time. No, 12 minutes extra added the ball with 3 turnovers by Josh Allen. So, I mean, we can control the clock. That is a sign of good coaching, and going into the most important stretch of the season, it's the time for it. Additionally, pretty good on third down. We were 7 for 12 on third down, and actually, we were also 1 for 1 on fourth down. These aggressive play calls, I am loving it from McDermott, knowing how he is generally a very conservative coach, whether or not to go for it on fourth or kick the field goal or anything. He's been very conservative, and as of recent, he's been very aggressive, and it's great to see, because a lot of teams are kind of expecting us to be kind of conservative and don't expect us to go for these craziness. So it's good to see us going for it on fourth again. And additionally, we were 4 out of 5 in the red zone. This is what we've been needing all season. You'd be seeing these stat lines for previous games, and it's 1 for 4 or 0 for 3 or something. Not doing it in the red zone, but this time, this game, and in previous games, and hopefully in games in the future, the red zone efficiency has been pretty damn good. We ran the shit out of the ball all day long. I mean, we've all been complaining about our run game, and I've always been on the side of it is not the backs' faults, it's the offensive line just not doing their job, not giving our backs any favors. And I do like a couple things. One, Singletary is the main back, and when you have that, he gets on a roll. And when he gets on a roll, you can just keep feeding him. And when you can keep feeding him, it gives Josh Allen a lot of, weight off of his shoulders, because a lot of times it is Josh Allen versus everybody. And this time it is the Buffalo Bills versus everybody. And when Josh Allen stumbles and doesn't have himself a day, the rest of the team is there to pick him up. This is the kind of synergy and just everything the Buffalo Bills have been for the last X amount of years. It's just every single cog, hopefully, is lining up to work out great in the event that we get to the final game, which I'm hoping. We got a tough road in the playoffs starting off, and I'll get into that a little later in the video. But before that, the run game. 44 attempts, 233 yards with an average of 5.3 yards per carry. That includes all of Josh's stuff, and that also includes the kneel downs at the end of the game. So even this average is skewed towards the less accurate side of the ball. It should be probably, I don't know, closer to 6 yards average per carry. It's insane. 44 attempts. We're a passing team, but we didn't have to all day, really. And like I said, I like giving one guy the ball, like Singletary. I like giving one guy the ball, and I like that it's Singletary. Moss was efficient when we needed him. He had some plays in the game, which was very good from him, and that's what we need. When we have someone like Moss step into the game, or even Breida, or someone, our running backs are good, in my opinion. And when they're called, they're efficient. They do their job. But Singletary was the name of the day. So with that Baltimore loss on Sunday, Buffalo clinched a playoff spot. Let's go Buffalo. And it is very likely that in the first week of playoffs, the Buffalo Bills will run into one of 3 teams. The most likely being, in my opinion, New England. Make your own conclusions about that. Second most likely, Indianapolis. 2 very strong teams that I will not be confident going into those games, but I believe we can beat anybody. Those 2 opponents, though, should be pretty tough. The third most likely one is the Raiders, which is the one I'm kind of hoping for big time, but most likely we'll be seeing the Patriots that would stink. We'd be seeing the Patriots and the Colts. We might be seeing the Patriots and the refs, but Patriots and the Colts. And so, getting into seeding and playoff chances, we're in the playoffs, but seeding and where we want to be right now, we've locked in the playoff spot. Obviously, we've locked in at least the 7th seed, but assuming we win week 18 against the red hot Jets, who made Antonio Brown rage quit and probably end his career, the Jets, they're on fire. They didn't win, but I guess they're all right. Assuming we win week 18 against the Jets, that locks up the 4th seed. we will at least have the 4th seed. Now, the 2 games that we got to look at going forward is the Chiefs game against, I think, the Broncos, and then the Bengals game against the Browns. So here's the scenario. If one of those teams loses, whether it's the Chiefs or the Bengals, if one of those teams loses, we're in the 3rd seed. If both of those teams lose, we're in the 2nd seed. So we're preying on one of their downfalls, hopefully both of their downfalls, but it's all contingent on Buffalo winning against the Jets in Week 18. Now, since there's these seeding opportunities up for grabs, all our starters will play. Don't expect any starters to sit unless, that happens and we don't really care about the seeding, but it matters because we don't want to run into a team that just came off of a bye, assuming we win our first week of playoffs. We don't want to run into a well-rested team. But yeah, that's the scenario. We are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. If we win against the Jets, we are guaranteed at least the 4th seed. One of those 2 teams loses, we're in the 3rd seed. If they both lose, 2nd seed. We can never get the 1st seed, unfortunately. Kind of crappy, but that's what we're looking at. Additionally, our Week 18 game against the Jets has been flexed to a 4 p.m., 4:25 start kickoff. So we will know the outcome of the New England Dolphins game. We'll know the outcome of some other games, so we'll be able to see who we will be playing, given the result of the game that we will be playing later on in the day, which kind of prefer the 1 p.m. kick, but regardless, we got to wait another 3.5 hours. So that's all I got for you guys today. The Buffalo Bills are in the playoffs, so celebrate, because we were celebrating like crazy just a few years ago. So this is the new normal. We all have new expectations for this team, and it is just good to have a good team in Buffalo. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll maybe do a preview for the Jets game coming up, but I'll be doing a lot of traveling coming up soon, so don't expect too many videos in this atmosphere here. It might be just some quick, short stuff on my phone. But regardless, again, that's all I got for you guys today. This has been another episode of Good Neighbors Sports. As always, be good to your neighbors. And go Bills, baby. Let's go.